Hello, boys. Hello, girls. Same person, different show. Want to welcome you to the first episode of the Glorified House Show. And not Glorified House Show, but Glorified House Show. And this is a change of format from, say, what I was doing with Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling and Peter Talks, because what Peter Talks was, it was more or less reviews. I mean, I think Peter Talks went more into more issues, but I ended up doing reviews and things of that nature. I did some conversation pieces, but like the difference is then and now is that like I will do some predictions. I won't do reviews. I'll probably do reviews of pay-per-views, and maybe not all the pay-per-views, maybe not all of them, but newsworthy ones, okay? Obviously the big four, this one coming up, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give a prediction to the Royal Rumble and NXT Takeover Philadelphia. But the major difference of the Glorified House show is that these are going to be much shorter. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, they would go on for like an hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 hour jauns of me just really talking it up a little bit, right? But this is going to be a little more direct. I don't even, and plus this episode itself will probably be the one where I give this kind of an intro. I'm just going to go straight into my topics and get the fuck out. And at most, I will talk 30 minutes. Okay? So, I mean, if I can get out in 15 minutes, that's great. But I know I'm not going to get out of this one in that amount of time because I got so much to cover. It's been a big news week, past 2 weeks, I would even say, in the world of professional wrestling, mostly WWE. And also, this will be more WWE based, okay? If there's news coming out of New Japan and ROH or Evolve or anywhere else, you know, like I don't want to call it the indies, but like the promotions under the WWE, I'll talk about it. That's what this show will actually give me a platform to do because, again, they're going to be so short. So I can be talking about, like, you know, what's happened, you know, big news in TNA or something like that if it comes down to the news, you know, pipe or what have you. I'm already 4 minutes in, 3.5 in, and I feel like I've talked already too much within the intro. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ellen Japanese. Again, that's Ellen Japanese. LINJAPANESE. Big shout out to all my old listeners and people also watching on YouTube. Again, yes, maybe you missed me. I'm back. You can listen to this on Stitcher Radio. You can listen to this on SoundCloud. You can also listen to this on iTunes. And you can watch this on YouTube. Okay, guys? So let's get down to it. Because, again, it's been a crazy week. And I just got some news just now coming out of the WWE camp. The return of the XFL. But first, I want to talk about the Roman Reigns steroid controversy. Now, I'm confused about why this is such a big deal. So just recently, this dude, his name is Richard Rodriguez, and he's like basically some sort of big time, you know, steroid kingpin, right? And he's been dealing steroids to the stars, basically star athletes, actors and actresses and whatever. And just recently, his entire stash just got raided. Right? He's going to be spending some time in prison, and one of the things he did on his way to prison is rat out a bunch of people. He ratted out, was it Josh Duhamel, Mark Goldberg, Mark Wahlberg, not Goldberg. Look at me, Mark Wahlberg, and more notably Roman Reigns. And everyone's kind of coming down on this, and I'm trying to understand why. Now, granted, this guy was running an illegal steroids empire, and I think it had everything to do with taxes. I'm not going to say like he was illegally doing steroids. Steroid use is legal, okay? Steroid use is legal. It's illegal in professional athletics because it's supposed to give you an unfair advantage over everyone else who's supposedly clean. But in this instance, in the WWE, we've had a lot of things that has laid the cloak of taboo of steroids, say what happened with Vince McMahon in the early 90s, and then the claims of like roid rage with Chris Benoit. Okay, so what the deal with, what happened with Vince McMahon is that like he was forcing steroids on these professional wrestlers, and that's why that was such a big deal. Not for the use of steroids. Again, steroid use is legal, except when it comes to professional athletics. And well, I guess for high schools and college, it's violation, but it's not against the law. There's no money being generated unless the coaches and the administrators were in on it all, okay? That's when it gets illegal. That's when it gets sticky. But everyone's coming down on Roman Reigns as if he committed a crime. Now, he would be committing the crime unless he was in cahoots with this Rodriguez guy and he was getting illegal, untaxed steroids from this guy. Now, that's where I go, okay, this is the conversation. This is what we're going to talk about. Did Roman Reigns knowingly go to an illegal source for steroids? Not he took steroids, okay? He's talking about how he learned his lesson, 2 years ago or last year when, he failed a test and he got suspended, and that he's been clean ever since. I mean, I could give a fuck, I'd imagine steroid use is still legal because, again, you're in professional, it's sports entertainment. You're an actor taking these. You're not competing in, Nevada-based, gambling, shit. You're on camera cutting a fucking script. And at the same time, spearing and Superman punching motherfuckers. So anyone I feel that is going at Roman Reigns for his use of steroids as if he's committed something wrong, I think that's wrong. He's fine, okay? But I think the issue is him working with and doing business with a legal steroid drug dealer. Do I think he did it? Of course I think he did it. Everyone's trying to make it seem like this guy here is like some nut job, and let that's what you need to do in a PR situation. You want to make the person accusing you into a fucking loony bin, right? We've seen it before, from Lance Armstrong down the fucking pipeline. Like we've seen this before. Now, maybe there's some legitimacy to this if he's naming these people off, and if he's naming mainly like Roman Reigns, the top WWE guy. Now, these guys get hurt, and steroid use could be one of a bunch of things. When you're trying to get your physique right, you're trying to get, build character in your muscles, and if appearance and muscle is part of your presentation and like your livelihood, then yes, like bodybuilders and everything, you are going to take this because you want your body to look good. And professional athletes who are taking it illegally or trying to find ways to use it, is because steroids is like amazing in healing. It has these amazing healing powers. It's like, it speeds up the healing process. So no one got time to be sitting on the sideline when there's millions to be made. So a lot of these athletes resort to steroids. Not like they're just like, crackheads to the shit. It's just like, no, it's time to get off the fucking injured reserve and get back on the field. And if you would have named, say, I don't know, Kurt Hawkins, nobody would have gave a fuck. If he would have named somebody like, I don't know, you could go down the list of all the people who show up on Superstars, like Zack Ryder. If it was Zack Ryder, no one would have gave a fuck. No one would have turned an eye, blind eye to it. I don't even think it would have even made news. Or even for this guy to even name Zack Ryder, right? But he named the top WWE guy. And this guy has a book full of top of the line characters. People in the business, they all go to him. And who's to say he didn't? I'm not saying he did, but he may have. I'm not just going to say this guy's innocent of dealing with this guy. You know what I'm saying? We'll see coming up. I'm not sure what kind of criminal investigation is going to come down, but it's definitely not going to be in the vein of, say, him using steroids and this horrible thing to do in wrestling. That's all a moral conversation, right? That's like the moral conversation of this all. We're not talking about law and illegal activity if he's taking steroids to perform in the WWE. Only if he was forced to use it or he was forcing other people to use it is when we're going to be talking about criminal activity. Or if he's been buying from this illegal source. All right? So let's move on to, and this is probably the bigger news. And I'm going to try to get through this within like 5 minutes, okay, guys? Because it's interesting, right? It's the rape accusation of Enzo Amore. I just happened to stumble across this shit, right? I was on Twitter like 2 days ago because I'm starting to get back onto Twitter and stuff, right? I'm leaving comments. If anyone's listening, homies of mine and stuff, and you've been checking out the podcast before, and now you're checking back on it again. You've noticed how I've been more active outside of, say, sharing my Instagram posts to Twitter, but no, actually tweeting and doing stuff. So, and I've also been just going down the storyline just to see what I've been missing out on, just because why not? Fuck it. I've been anti-Twitter for a while, even though I have a Twitter, but I've been getting back into the groove of using it, and boom, it just hit me. It said, Enzo Amore accused of rape. And I don't even think that it made it big yet. I think it was still its early stages of the conversation of Enzo Amore and this young lady charged, like the embryonic stages of this young girl. She's like 19, but she's a young girl compared to me. I'm 40. Accusing Enzo of rape. Now, I just happened to be scrolling down. I came across this thing, and then I just started looking. I was just like, this is madness. Like, hey, let's just see what the fuck's happening here. So turns out it was this one chick, and I don't know whose chick this is. Who's all involved in this are these like extremely popular Snapchat cam girls, right? They're like these young hipster Snapchat cam girls, right? Man, they got like thousands upon thousands of fucking followers, right? And any and everybody that's involved are like, all these cream of the crop, top of the fucking food chain, social media icons. That's one thing that's interesting about this. More notably, this girl named Tupor. I don't know. I thought she was somebody. I remember just coming across her randomly and just trying to find out more about her. But she has the fucking social media game on lock, right? And she's coming to the defense of Enzo Amore. She's coming to the defense of the girl who's suspected to have left this girl drugged up and baked for Enzo Amore to take advantage of. So this girl, I can't think of her name right now, but whatever. Let's call her hipster Snapchat girl 1, right? And she makes this post, right? And it's like, I'm thinking about some things and I'm not happy with myself and blah, blah, blah. Like this kind of like one-in-a-mill introspective about how she just feels about herself, right? And then like a flank. It was like this crazy flank, man. Like, what is it? I think it's like 48 hours. It's like a zombie film or something like this. It's called like the 24 hours, 40 hours. Well, anyway, it's like this motherfucker running from zombies, right? It starts off, this log cabin, this family is just running from these fucking zombies and shit, right? And everyone's getting picked off. Grandpa gets picked off. Grandma gets picked off. The fucking kid gets picked off. The wife gets picked off. Everyone's fucking just getting their ass picked off by these fucking zombies. The one dude, the husband, the son, the father, he's able to get the fuck away. He even sold out his fucking wife and kid. It's like, fuck y'all, I'm out. And there's this scene where he's running, right? And he's running and he's running, and you can see the fucking zombies kind of behind him, right? Just a little bit. And then they shoot a side shot of him, right? And you just see, you see like this sort of horizon, like a hill or some shit, right? And all of a sudden, you just see this waterfall of fucking zombies coming after this guy. And it's like, you see him, he turns, and he's like, holy shit. So he's like, he's not running straight anymore. He's like, even the camera kind of follows him running at this fucking angle and stuff as he goes to this fucking boat and he escapes. That's what this was, right? This moment of her making this introspective tweet and this flank, this fucking zombie waterfall flank. It's like, well, you shouldn't be feeling this way unless if you wouldn't have set me up to be raped by Enzo Amore. And she fucking put Enzo's Twitter name on it. I think it's like Realist1 or some shit like that. And it was just like 0 to 1,000 in like a millisecond. And that's where it all started. I went over this girl's timeline. After that accusation, there's maybe 2 random tweets, right? She tweets, it's like, I don't know, I got cocaine in my eye. I want a Pop-Tart, right? And this girl, this accuser, she's not like upper echelon, but she's like in that realm to where she's cool enough to hang with Tupor and this girl, right? She fucking It's crazy. Then after these two posts, these two just random posts, she gives an entire monologue of what happened with Enzo Amore. Like, I've been hiding this, but this motherfucker raped me. These are the two girls responsible, and that's what's up. To make a long story short, it escalated extremely fast. You know, Too Poor and Cam Girl number one are like trying their best to defend themselves and defend Enzo Amore. And the girl, the accuser, isn't even really going after Amore. She's going after the girls, right? She's going after the girls. She's like, you girls set me up. Oh man, it's crazy. But it resorted, and there's a whole bunch of other storylines attached to this. But the bottom line is this: he was first suspended, right? And then it went from just chatter. And then it turned into a suspension, and then there was Raw 25, and that turned into, the next day after Raw 25 on Monday, Enzo Amore has been released. One of the crazy things about this entire case, and we'll just have to see after that, because it's so many twists and turns to this, but I have to get to some other shit. The thing that baffles me about this, and I'm not going to take this lightly, I'm going to take her accusations very serious, because there's a chance that he probably did something, right? They had sex. Without a shadow of a doubt, they had sex. But the way that she's describing it is that it was forced upon her. And it's going to be within whatever the DA or like whatever private investigator can get out of this entire story is what they're gonna say, hey, this is what happened, right? But as for now, all we have now is like her word. It's not even her word and like Cam Girl 1 and Cam Girl 3, right? Too Poor. And this girl, her name is, let's pull this up. Her name is Philomena Shahan. Okay. Normally when you're in a rape case, right? And the accuser is, it's been said. She's said what she had to say. She's stated her claim that she had been sexually abused. There's been some sexual misconduct. After that, it's done secretly. And the person who's accused is on the hot seat. But normally the accuser is anonymous. You'll never know who the fuck the person is, because, naturally what happens is fingers start to point. And you want to protect the person who's saying that they've been attacked, because you don't want to victim blame. You don't want to turn the point and say, hey, this person is responsible for whatever happened to her. And you don't want people to see and see it and just go after her, or even know who she is online, doxing her, finding out where she lives, where she works. You don't want that, because people are real touchy about not only rape, like people who defend the accuser, but there are just as many people who are defending the accused. But normally, again, they're just anonymous. This person is not anonymous worth a fuck. She is front and center. Any and everything that should be happening in the courts and behind closed doors and with police and the hospitals and the DA and the lawyers. She's basically given her testimony as if it's the court only of public opinion and not the regular court systems. like as if it's only. And she's giving this description like this, there's a term in literature called like Mary Sue, right? Where everything's about her and like the descriptions of the situations are almost to a certain degree fantasy. Like how you see yourself. If you're someone who thinks highly of yourself, who sees yourself in like this way, this is how it's going to be described. In most literature, Mary Sue is someone who gets everything right. They're the object of everyone's attention and love. And any and everything that is described is really wax poetic, right? There's like, and this, it's just a lot of description. There's no, there's one thing to describe something, but to embellish and to elaborate on how drastic something as small as, moving of a hand becomes like this glorious thing that's happened. And that's how she's describing this rape, like this video that's floating around of her talking to TMZ about what happened in the rape case. And I go like, this is mind blowing. And I don't know if it's in her best interest either or, but like, she is getting some heat for this. And I think she's making her case less sensitive. Meanwhile, you have Enzo Amore, who ain't said a damn thing. I think, he got suspended because apparently there was something in October that was filed and he knew about it. And he didn't talk to WWE about it. And they used that as a means to terminate him. Just recently, Swan, he's a cruiserweight. Lynn Swan is a wide receiver for the for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s. But this guy, Swan, he just got cleared. I just found out today he just got cleared of his domestic violence dispute. And I don't know if he had his job back. I don't know. I forgot if he got fired or suspended. But they had to distance themselves from him because there's a no nonsense policy. If someone even sniffs an accusation on any of these wrestlers, they're going down in flames. They're going to lose their job. They're going to get suspended and or fired. And that's what happened to Enzo. So anyone who's upset that the WWE took the PR, direction of suspending and firing him, there is a reason. He knew there was a case. He never got in front of it. And now he must suffer the consequences. I think he would have probably gotten fired anyway, just for the PR shit and just to distance themselves, just like they did a whole lot of other wrestlers, like this Swan guy, or even Heath Slater a couple of years ago. Someone in, I think, New Orleans or Atlanta said that Heath Slater had, raped them, and they separated themselves. I think he got fired. Even in getting in front of it, they just couldn't they just couldn't have him on the squad and face scrutiny. They just couldn't do it. So I don't know what's to come of all of this. And Enzo Amore, his life has been turned upside down. This girl's life has been turned upside down. And we're going to learn something out of all of this. How this whole thing plays out. Because as wrestling fans, we're just going to keep up with it. But then it's like very much like Hulk Hogan and his privacy case. The world is watching now to see how this plays out. This is something we don't see too often on the wrestling side of things. And we see some crazy shit. But this is a serious case. And it's going to get more serious. But it's untraditional. Especially the fact that the rape accused, the person who's accusing this Philomena Sheehan is front and center talking about this. It leaves a lot of skepticism up. All right. So that's out of the way. Quickly, my thoughts on WWE. I'm already at 30 minutes. My thoughts on WWE Raw 25 is that the show was only made for highlights. I was watching SmackDown. Did I enjoy it? Man, I don't enjoy a lot of WWE recently. A lot of it is just background noise. I don't watch it live too often or ever. I mean, I watched it for the past 2 weeks because I just happened to be inside. And Raw 25 was thrown together very poorly. And as a go-home show to the Royal Rumble, one of your big four, where like everything is flipped on its head on the way to WrestleMania, they forfeited it. They forfeited the entire build to a Royal Rumble to cater to a lot of returns and a lot of like kind of silliness. And then they booked the Manhattan Center. But like I was watching SmackDown Live, and they played highlights from Raw 25. And the show looked amazing. It looked fantastic. And in my head, and this is just what I'll just say about all of it, and I think it's problematic to just the product itself. The WWE isn't in the business of making good shows anymore. They're in the business of making amazing highlights. Packages, video packages to just play out to other non-wrestling people to bring them in. Or for themselves, actually, to boost their own egos. That highlight reel made the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, made that shit look like it was the greatest show that the WWE has ever done. And ultimately, I feel that's the direction. Because it's been like that for a while. I mean, if you're watching, WWE programming, they're always showing highlights of, the previous week. And it looks like an amazing show. Every single one of them. Or even like highlights from like pay-per-views and whatnot. They all look amazing. But they look amazing because it's made to look that way. They script to these moments. It's not about the show, it's about moments. That's why they say, this is the WrestleMania moment. This is the WrestleMania moment. This is the SummerSlam moment. This is the Survivor Series moment. Or what have you. This is the Royal Rumble moment. Because they can give a fuck about giving a good show anymore. And I'm not gonna go into a rant about this because I'm 3 minutes past and I got to get these 2 reviews out of the way. But it's something problematic, and if there's something that if there's something that I'm really worried about, I'm worried that I'm not gonna want to watch WWE anymore. I do think about that. I watch it out of habit, and I'll be on my phone. It'd be like background noise, honestly. Just kind of keeping up with what's going on, and it's just I'm a creature of habit. We're creatures of habit when it comes to watching professional wrestling. Even if we don't like it, even if after we watch it, we're just like bitching and moaning and complaining about how horrible it was. But we're going to watch next week. We're the only fan base, I think, that does that, rather than the several other million people who have jumped off the WWE bandwagon. But yeah, that's my take. Raw 25 is a reflection of the business itself, the WWE business. Again, they're in the business of making moments, not shows. All right. This McMahon I just saw it. I just happened to see this shit like maybe a good hour ago. It was like a 2-minute little thing on the return of the XFL in 2020. Vince McMahon is in front of this. It's like this really awesome, this badass display, and XFL got some helmets and shit around. And his whole approach was, this is for the people. What do you want? How do you want it done? What's going on? This isn't about this and this. This is about you. And they're just going to open up an entire, which is weird because he don't do that shit for wrestling. He does what the fuck he wants. You know? Hey, we want Daniel Bryan. Here's Roman Reigns. You know, like they could give a fuck about what we think and what we want in wrestling. They have an idea, and sometimes they'll tickle us. You know, they'll play with it, but like they won't ultimately give us what we want. So for him to start this fucking football league and the entire base, because they try to do it even in wrestling, they cloak it like social media bullshit. Their whole campaign that he's talking about is like, what do you guys want? It's like, that's horse shit. But it's a good marketing scheme, if you ever ask me. If you ever ask me, and you know how people are serious about their fucking football. And what's been happening with the NFL right now, with Roger Goodell suspensions, people are upset about the kneeling, and protest. It's a bunch of shit, man. Domestic violence. It's just insane right now with the NFL now. And people are stopping watching. Ratings have gone down, but they keep giving us content. And I think people, and there's no alternative. If I don't want to watch WWE, I can watch ROH, I can watch New Japan, right? Hell, even if it is WWE related, it's still not main roster. NXT is an alternative. You know what I'm saying? Evolve is an alternative. PWG is an alternative. TNA is an alternative. It's still an alternative. Lucha Underground, go watch some reruns. If you've never seen it before, it's still an alternative. Lucha Libre, what they're doing, I forgot the name of it, but like CMLL, or whatever. It's just, it's a bunch of alternatives. But there is no alternative to professional football in America. The last time there was a alternative was the other than the XFL from the 90s, but the USFL, the US fucking FL. And since then, and the XFL was not competition to the NFL. But it looks like they're trying to be basically at one point, the TNA to the NFL. And I think, the landscape of football is completely different than it is now. So he has a chance, and a lot that he's learned since. And the only reason why he even wants to do this again, because he failed the first time around. And that fucking documentary came out. And I bet he's been seething at the opportunity to correct this and do this right. He's not someone who's known for throwing his hands up and failing. He's known for someone for winning and getting what he wants and getting his way. That's it. So we'll have to see, man. 2020 is when it will debut, and I think it's going to be interesting. This time around, I think I'm going to watch. Last time I didn't watch. I thought it was stupid. But I think they're going to, because recently he's been Alpha Entertainment is what it's called. And all these moves and these copyrights that he's reopened. Cat's out the bag now. Welcome back XFL 2020, which is also the presidential election time. So we'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. All right, so enough with the news. I'm 40 minutes in. I'm going to try to, I guess I'll be done with this in 10 minutes, but I'm going to quickly run through the pay-per-views for this weekend and just give you a quick, just tell you what matches and tell you my predictions of what's going to happen. So we have NXT Philadelphia, right? NXT Takeover Philadelphia. I will say this build hasn't been the best. Right now, NXT is a good problem to have. They got too many people, not enough time. I'm not someone who believes that they need to go 2 hours. I feel like they need to fucking cut. They need to bend the hose and stop for so much water to be getting out of the fucking hose, man. They're signing too many people, and it's like a clusterfuck right now over there of just all this amazing talent, but just not enough time to get everyone on or to get everyone a fucking solid, storyline. And and even though they have solid, some of them have solid storylines, it's just so spread out that by the time, cause we've been conditioned to see wrestlers every week and this, a consistent weekly storyline. Before the fucking brand split, you had 2 nights a week where you were telling the same story into a build of a pay-per-view. It's not like that anymore, right? You get 1 day, to do it, but you still get a bunch of it on the way. And here it's like with a certain amount of people on a roster. Here it's like a bunch of motherfuckers, and they're all trying to get storylines, and you only get but so much storyline each week, every 3 weeks or so, right? And they try to specifically point out guys that they're trying to give more attention to. But it's just so many other people that you got to get at least on TV that you forget what the feuds are. And that's what this is right now. Before, it was like a handful of people and you were able to, follow, within that hour until the next takeover, what the feuds definitely were, right? They got injuries, they got new people, they got, it's what they're doing at NXT is kind of crazy. And I don't think it's sustainable. They got to stop signing people. They just got to stop signing people, right? They got to let some of these people go and send them back out to the fucking indies, right? Leo Rush be one of them. Let him be the first, And other than that, it's just like, if we are watching NXT TakeOver or people in Philadelphia are like kind of silent. The only thing you get is if it's a great wrestling show. It's not because they know storylines. Okay? It's just too wacky right now. So I'll go, I guess, whatever order. And this is from fucking Wikipedia, right? Like, I'm just gonna read. Maybe there are gonna be more matches to be announced or something between. NXT's tonight. Oh, well, 15 minutes left by the time I'm doing this. What is this? Oh, shit, this is Thursday. I did watch it yesterday. So, whatever. Never mind, I'm spaced out. So, you got Cassius Ohno versus the Velveteen Dream. I don't even know why the fuck this is happening, but it is. Velveteen Dream just lost a really good match yesterday to Johnny Gargano, right? And now he faces Cassius Ohno. I have no idea why. Probably be a good match. Fucking Velveteen Dream has become my favorite wrestler right now. We have the tag team, NXT Tag Team Championship. And it's the Undisputed Era, which is Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor. Oh shit, by the way, I feel like Velveteen Dream is going to win that match. All right? There's no reason to take those belts off the Undisputed Era. There's a band called the Undisputed Truth. But, unless, there's nothing for the Authors of Pain to do anymore down at NXT. They lose, they go up to the fucking main roster, and please send them to Raw. Okay? No more tag teams down in fucking SmackDown, all right? They got enough guys on that roster on SmackDown. They're okay down there with their tag team roster. The Raw, on the other hand, is ass out on, formidable tag teams. Heel stables too. It's just a mess. Just send them to Raw, have them just beat the living shit out of everyone, and call it a fucking, call up. Amber Moon versus Shayna Baszler for the women's champion, NXT Women's Championship. I'll tell you this. I got Shayna Baszler winning this, right? But I am not feeling Amber Moon. I had high hopes for Amber Moon. I mean, I remember when she wasn't on TV. I remember hearing about her and her wowing people and this, that, and the other. And when she first came up, I thought it was like, hey, I like this person, right? We rarely get black female wrestlers, especially getting like excellent pushes. Like, you know, it's just something we don't see too often. Maybe it just not enough black female wrestlers to even work with. But to see her, you know, come up, and I was actually kind of proud, and I was excited to see where she can go. They dropped the ball on her by not having her defeat Asuka. But outside of that, her character annoys me. I'm not into this thing that is Amber Moon, this character that is Amber Moon. You know why I don't like it? Because you know what the fuck she reminds me of? And it's sad, it's fucked up, I don't care. But she reminds me of a black nerd, like a black kid, male or female, who overcompensates, you know, in the way they behave and the way they carry themselves, overcompensates to let other people take their fandom of this geek culture serious, like above and beyond the Call of Duty with this sort of geekdom, you know? The average person, okay, so they like their stuff, they probably, you know, joke around and do some funny things, but like there's some people of color that, you know, you don't think geekdom and anime and comic books, you don't think black people, you know? It's just one of those things. And Amber Moon, I feel, is doing that. She's being that person who has to overcompensate her character as this like geekdom character that like it won't be taken seriously unless I don't go over the top, unless I go over the top with it, right? So like the fucking red contacts, take them shits out. Her posture, her demeanor, it's almost like she was like, I'm gonna watch a bunch of Dragon Ball Z, and then I'm gonna act that behavior out. So like her and Shayna Baszler are doing this sort of, you know, face off on Wednesday, and I just couldn't take Amber serious. And I'm looking at Shayna Baszler, I'm like, I'm Shayna Baszler right now, looking at her like she looks like a complete idiot, and how she's talking. No one talks like that. Not even wrestlers talk like that anymore, or even in the first place. It's almost like you could have easily just put it on mute and give her like, you know, comic book bubbles, speech bubbles. You could have done it, and that's exactly what it looked like. And you can't take that shit serious. She's trying so hard to be taken serious that you can't take it fucking serious. It annoys the living shit out of me. Her character annoys the shit out of me. All she has to do is dial it down. I think if she just dial it down a little bit, okay, we get it. You're a fucking geek. You're a nerd. And you happen to be a wrestler. And you're given this opportunity. Like, you don't have to overcompensate for the fact that you have dark skin. Okay? Dial it back. Take those fucking contacts out your eyes. And just be a badass. Don't try to be a superhero. Don't try to be some anime character that you dreamed to someday be. The only reason why you became a wrestler in the first place, to be fucking Sailor Moon. Like, that's just stupid. And I feel like that's what's happening with her character. So, I don't know. Like, her run has been a mess. Shayna Baszler is a legit badass. Why not just change belts? So, Undisputed keeps their belts. Ember Moon loses hers. You have an Extreme Rules match between Adam Cole and Aleister Black. I don't even know what they're doing, Adam Cole. But it's an Extreme Rules match. Aleister Black already has a victory over Adam Cole. Adam Cole's going to beat Aleister Black in this one. And then they're going to take this feud to Takeover New Orleans. You got Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano. Almas wins because the return of Tommaso Ciampa, and he has Almas on the ropes, and Ciampa shows up and costs him the match. And Almas, I wouldn't say it's been a bad run. He hasn't been given a run at all. I think he's may have wrestled once since he's won the belt, and that was like months ago, which is kind of cool. You don't see that no more. I remember watching, back in the day, watching like WCW, and like whoever had the world belt at the time hardly ever wrestled. And if they did show up, they would show up in a suit and they talk some shit and they get the fuck out of there. And that's what's been happening with Cien Almas. And people are like, oh, it's bad run. I'm like, well, he hasn't had a run, and this is how I remember champions being. Unlike what they're doing in WWE, where you got fucking the last 3 weeks, your WWE champion and AJ Styles has been losing. There's a thing that Salamonster says, is that champs are chumps. Champs are chumps. Champs are chumps. Well, they are. You know who aren't chumps? Which champs aren't chumps? The NXT champs. None of them are chumps. The tag teams aren't chumps. The tag teams win. And the women's champion are not chumps, because what they do, they fucking win every time. And they don't wrestle every week. And the fucking NXT men's champion is not a chump. If he does lose, is in a battle match, is in a title match at a takeover. There's no reason to give up Cien Almas. He plays the part. When he showed up, even though he got clowned Wednesday, he showed up. He looked great. He looked like a champion. He carried himself like a champion. It was kind of cool, refreshing to see. I saw his beginnings. I remember his beginnings. They were extremely humble. Extremely humble. And now he's a champ with a fucking amazing valet in Vegas. And it's amazing. So don't give up on that yet. Don't see him going to the main roster quite yet. And there's a story to be told with Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, Cien Almas. I could see him going to battle with, well, they say Aleister Black. I feel like he needs to continue with Adam Cole. You don't want to put that belt on him quite soon. I think who needs to come up the ranks and maybe, just maybe, toy with Almas is Velveteen Dream. Either that or have him just go up against one of those big bad motherfuckers. What the hell is that big fucker's name? God, he's not even on. Maybe just maybe he'll make the just maybe he'll make the cut. But as for now, let me make sure. Jesus Christ. Why am I drawing a blank on this guy's name? I hate when I do that, and I apologize, guys. Lars Sullivan. That's his name, Lars Sullivan. I say make Lars Sullivan the next contender for the NXT belt, and have that happen in New Orleans against Almas. Turn him babyface. They wanted him babyface in the first place, and Lars just kind of a David versus Goliath thing. I mean, it'll be fun. Fuck it. So those are my predictions. I'm gonna burn through the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble. It's also in Philadelphia, 2018. Let's go through the fucking matches. I guess I'll go an hour. This will be the last and the longest one. I had to pack a lot into this one. Okay, guys. So I apologize. So this is from the Wikipedia. Reading from my phone. We have the Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Just recently, I didn't even talk about it, but Jey Uso just got caught with a DUI, right, down in Texas. People are saying that like maybe this will affect the outcome. Maybe his fucking career is going to take some weird turn. I doubt it. A DUI, a first DUI, speak from somewhat experience. A first DUI is a slap on the wrist, and you don't get much, you don't get much law book thrown at you by the law when you get that first one, right? You learn from it, you bounce back from it. I don't think it's as major as a rape charge. Not to make that comparison, but like it's very minuscule. It's a very minuscule charge that I feel most businesses, take a little lightly. Not the second and third, but the first. So I don't see a reason to take the belts off the Usos because because I don't feel Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable are like menacing enough heels for other baby faces to go after. I just don't see it. And I feel like next in line is the Bludgeon Brothers. They need to go after the belts after this. So I feel the Usos will retain. And regardless of what people think about the whole DUI, no, they're not going to change the course. That's just silly to do. You got Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the tag team championships, which is, to me, you can't really make a guess of who would actually win this. Sheamus and Cesaro they are the tag team division, basically. And it's time to, and the storyline with Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan is that, like, Jason Jordan has been kind of an annoying little brother in this situation. And yeah, they're the tag team champs, because both of them are hella talented. They seem to work really well together, even in the absence of Dean Ambrose. But it's kind of a kooky, odd couple pairing, and it keeps getting odder and odder and odder. Do I see Sheamus and Cesaro? Do I see them? Do I want them to win the tag championships? No. Actually, I kind of want them to split up. I'm ready to see a Cesaro, solo, single run. And I heard Sheamus was having some trouble. He was having some body, some injury issues that's going to affect him even wrestling anymore. So maybe this is like the last hurrah. So I guess my prediction is Seth and Jason Jordan, they win the belts. They keep the belts, but I think next in line is Authors of Pain. They're going to come up and be the next in line for a championship shot, and hopefully spin the tag team direction in like a really positive trajectory. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a handicap match for the WWE Championship. I don't even want to go into this movement and Sami and Owens, even though the biggest surprise out of this is how well Sami Zayn is a heel. Obviously, AJ Styles retains, okay? And I think you get some animosity between Owens and Sami Zayn, and maybe they finally get that WrestleMania match we've all been looking for. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman versus Kane. Brock Lesnar retains. Kane takes the pin. Whatever. We got the Women's Royal Rumble, 30 Women Royal Rumble, surprises, and this, that, and the other. People are all excited. I'm not. I'm not excited. I'll probably be excited next year. I want to see how this one goes, and then I'll run with the hype, okay? I'll run with the hype going into next year's. But they got to prove to me that they're worthy of having a Royal Rumble. They did a sort of simulated Royal Rumble, every woman for themselves on both Raw and SmackDown this week, and it looked weak. I'll say it. It looked weak. It looked weak. So I only hope that they deliver. You know, they get the little butterflies and the adrenaline is pumping, and they get out there and they deliver a really solid, over-the-top battle royal. Who do I see winning? Well, there's two options. You got Ronda Rousey that may show up, right? Got Ronda fucking Rousey that may show up, and if she shows up, she's winning. If she's not showing up, I predict that Sasha Banks will win it. I think Sasha Banks as a heel going after. Sasha Banks as a heel going after. Fucking can't even think of her name. She's the women's champion for Raw. Whatever. Oh my god, I can't believe. I hate when I draw blanks. I'm sitting here naming off names, and then I run across certain names. I'd be like, bleh. But it just goes to show again, you know, how pitiful the WWE has been in making formidable champions or people worth even remembering. She's going after the Raw Championship. I see the heel Sasha Banks going after babyface. God almighty. I'm embarrassed. I apologize. It'll hit me in a second. But if Ronda Rousey shows up, she's going after Charlotte Flair. Okay, so that's God almighty. I feel embarrassed not to remember this chick's name. It's not even important. But I've gone too far anyway. And the Royal Rumble match, the men's Royal Rumble match, I don't want to go into who I think is going to make a surprise and this, that, and the other. I have a real crazy dark horse pick for the Royal Rumble. And anytime I say it, people think I'm crazy. Maybe I am crazy. But I feel like it's a legitimate prediction that needs to be taken seriously. And the person that I have winning the Royal Rumble is the Big Show. The Big Show's been off TV for a while because I think Braun Strowman fucked him up, and he's just been off TV ever since. And this was like a couple of months ago. I'll say even 2 months ago. He was kind of sent packing for a long vacation. The reason why I feel Big Show is going to win is because I think after this, I think he's going to be done. I think he's going to retire. There's no reason for him to stick around. There's an influx of new big guys that will be coming in. They're not going to have a space for him. I mean, he could still be a WWE ambassador. I think they could still use him in certain things. I could see him as a general manager. If they move on from Kurt Angle, they can bring the Big Show in as a general manager. I think he'll do extremely well in that position. But I feel like this is his last run. What's been happening with the WWE is that they've been putting people in situations where they put them in these situations because they got these events. But then they win these events, and then they're sort of placed to the side to focus on the story that they want. Before it was like whoever won the Royal Rumble, or even Money in the Bank, they became center of attention. But since the Roman Reigns experiment has been going on, it's been about Roman Reigns and it's been about Brock Lesnar. It hasn't even been about anyone else. Who won the fucking Money in the Bank? Baron Corbin. Alexa Bliss is her name, by the way. Alexa Bliss, yay! Sasha will face Alexa if Ronda Rousey is not in it. But Baron Corbin won Money in the Bank, and he lost the fucker, right? Like, okay, all right, no contender to the belt. There you have it. There you fucking have it. Randy Orton won it last year. I think Roman Reigns won it the year before that. Triple H won it before that, and Roman Reigns, and then Batista. So it seems like they're going to, like, you know, their old trusty hands. And another thing is that, like, they trust Big Show. He's been in the company forever. And another thing is that, like, he's been shitted on so much come WrestleMania season. I think the last great thing he ever done was win the Undreated Giant, Battle Royal. That's the last cool, somewhat even cool thing that he's gotten. Year after year, this guy gets the shaft somehow. And I think it's time for him to get his just desserts. I don't think he deserves it. I just think that, like, if WWE was to just turn to a person that they trust, and then, you know, he's still the Big Show, right? He's still like a big bad motherfucker unless he's going against other big bad motherfuckers. And this is why he's not going to go after the Universal Championship. He's going to go after the WWE Championship, because you know what? Again, they're going to carve out a little thing where it shifts over. He's a Raw guy. They're going to shift him over to WWE SmackDown, and it's going to be a David and Goliath. You know, your old trusty David versus Goliath storyline of AJ Styles as the babyface and Big Show as the heel. And I feel like, you know, he's been getting screwed over so much. I mean, what, the Floyd Mayweather thing? I don't consider that like a high point for the Big Show in his illustrious career in the WWE. You know, he got paid, I guess. You know, he went up against a big star. He was supposed to go up against a bigger star in Shaquille O'Neal, and that fell through. And that alone, just how that whole shit went to fuck, all that shit with the fuck is, if anything, and I've seen Shaq still looks like a big fat ass, so he ain't even showing up to WrestleMania this year. If anything, he's showing up to eat, but like, they dropped the ball on that, and I feel like, yo, you just got to give this guy something. And just give him the Royal Rumble. I don't know how the Philadelphia crowd is going to react. I'm going to be happy as fuck because that's my prediction. But we're just going to have to go with it because, again, the big story is Roman Reigns, the big dog, finally overcoming the beast Brock Lesnar. So we'll just have to see. Man, I told myself I was going to only talk for like 30 minutes, but that was a lot of stuff I talked about. I thought about cutting it up into different pieces, but I was like, I'm just doing it, try to do it in one shot. And it's tough for me not to talk a little about something. I think I talked more about the rape case than anything. I think I had a little rant about Amber Moon. She does need to dial it back. She does need to dial it back. But thank you so much for listening. Again, this is Thursday. It looks like my schedule is open up on Thursday nights. So I'll be recording these Thursday nights and uploading them that night, again, because they're going to be shorter. They're not going to be an hour long. They're going to be, again, 20 to 30 minutes long, if anything. If not that, I had 4 or 5 things to talk about. So that's why it's as long as it is. But I'm going to focus on maybe whatever the hot news of the week. And if you are a wrestling fan, and you are if you're listening to this, there's never nothing short of a story each week in professional wrestling. So I'll always have something to talk about. I miss talking to you guys. So any of my old fans who all of a sudden got a fucking notification that Peter has a new fucking video or new upload in your RSS feed, it's all because I have a brand new show, and it's called The Glorified House Show. Thank you so much for listening. Again, LINJAPANES. Ellen Japanese on both Instagram and Twitter and Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Yeah, and yeah, that's about it. I'm looking forward to doing these, guys, and hit me up. Give me a review if you like it, or welcome me back. Until then, watch out for those foreign objects.